right. So today we're diving into something pretty huge.
Yeah.
This whole idea of mindset.
Yeah.
And whether you believe your intelligence, your talents, even success are kind of fixed, like you're born with it or you're not.
Yeah.
Or whether it's something that you can cultivate and grow through you know, putting in effort and learning and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So we've been looking at a bunch of stuff on this. And the idea is to kind of give you a shortcut to understanding this really, really important idea.
For sure. And I think what's fascinating is it really comes down to like a tale of two mindsets, right?
Okay.
You've got the fixed mindset and you've got the growth mindset.
Yeah.
And if you imagine someone with a fixed mindset walking around in the world, they tend to believe that their abilities are like a set of tools that they're given at birth.
Okay.
Right? They might say, I'm good at math.
Right.
Or I'm just not a people person.
Oh.
I'm not wired for that.
Yeah. Or, like, I'm just not a morning person.
Exactly.
Like as if it's just like an absolute.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's that fixed mindset.
Okay.
Now flip that coin over and you get the growth mindset.
Okay.
This is the belief that your basic qualities, your intelligence, your talent, is something that can be developed through dedication, hard work, embracing challenges, learning from your mistakes.
Yeah.
It's not saying that there's no such thing as natural aptitude, but it's just saying that that's the starting point.
Okay.
That's the foundation upon which you can build.
I mean, a good example is like Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Like arguably the greatest of all time.
Totally.
But he was cut from his high school basketball team.
That's right. It's kind of like an urban legend, right?
Yeah.
But it's so illustrative because if you have a fixed mindset and you're passionate about something.
Yeah. And you're told you're not good enough.
Right.
Like that could just be the end of the story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
But what's striking about Jordan's example
is
that it wasn't the end of the story.
It wasn't.
And instead of internalizing that feedback as a limitation, his mindset seemed to be, okay, I didn't make the team this time.
Right.
What can I learn from this? What do I need to improve?
Yeah. And, there's that famous quote from him.
Yes.
I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed.
It's kind of a paradox.
It is.
But he reframed failure.
Right.
It wasn't a judgment on him. It was feedback.
Yeah.
Like, this is data that I can use to grow.
Right.
And so if you extrapolate that out to the bigger picture, a growth mindset allows you to see those setbacks.
Right.
Not as a full stop, but as valuable data points to guide you towards your goals.
So failure isn't the opposite of success.
It's kind of a part of it.
It's part of the process.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
Totally.
Okay, so we're starting to get like a good idea
of
these two different mindsets.
Right.
But how do we actually cultivate a growth mindset in our own lives?
Great question.
So like what are the things that we can do?
Well, the sources point to a few key strategies.
Okay.
The first one we'll talk about is embracing challenges.
Okay.
So someone with a growth mindset, they don't just tolerate difficult tasks. They seek them out.
Oh, wow.
They see challenge not as a threat, but as an opportunity to stretch and grow.
Like, what do you think is the most important part of that?
Well, I think it's a fundamental shift in perspective.
Okay.
Instead of seeing a challenge as something to avoid, you're seeing it as something to embrace.
Okay, so like a good example of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that with Elon Musk.
Totally.
Right, with Tesla and SpaceX.
Yeah.
He faced so much skepticism.
Oh my gosh.
Experts saying that electric vehicles were never going to work.
Yeah.
That private space exploration was impossible.
Right.
And I think someone with a fixed mindset, they would just be completely paralyzed.
They would shut down.
Yeah, by that level of doubt and just the potential for massive failure.
Absolutely.
But I mean, someone like Musk.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems to embody this growth mindset.
It seems like it.
And he sees these immense challenges as just problems to solve.
Right.
Right, and frontiers to explore and ultimately conquer. And the potential for failure isn't a deterrent.
Right.
It's part of the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So, if we bring this back to you, the listener, think about how you approach difficult things.
Yeah.
Right? The next time you come up against a challenge.
Yeah.
That seems really daunting.
Right.
Instead of thinking, oh no, this is going to be too hard.
Yeah.
Try asking yourself, what can I learn from tackling this?
That's good. Yeah.
How can this help me develop new skills or insights?
Love that.
Yeah.
It's about shifting from fearing failure.
Right.
to welcoming it as a teacher.
Yeah.
Which, begs the question, how can we actually be more intentional about seeking out these growth-inducing, challenging experiences?
That's a great point, Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as, volunteering for a project at work that's like a little outside of what you normally do.
Right.
Or tackling a problem that you've been putting off.
Totally.
Maybe starting a new hobby where it's going to require a lot of effort and learning.
Love it.
Yeah.
Stepping outside your comfort zone.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the second strategy that keeps coming up is something really simple but powerful.
Go ahead.
It's the power of the word yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, and it's really transformative.
I'm curious. Tell me more about it.
So the basic idea is that adding yet to our beliefs
can change them from fixed mindset to growth mindset. Interesting. Right, so you take a statement like, I can't do this.
Right, very definitive.
Yeah, it's like a dead end.
Yeah.
But then you add yet.
Okay.
Like, I can't do this yet.
Right.
And it introduces the possibility of future growth.
It acknowledges the present reality.
Yeah.
But doesn't close the door on the future.
And a great example of this is Oprah.
Oprah?
Yeah. She was fired from her first TV job.
Wow.
Because they told her she was unfit for television.
Ouch.
Imagine if she had internalized that with a fixed mindset.
Right.
She would have been like, I guess I'm just not cut out for this.
I'm not meant for TV.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, obviously.
Clearly not the case.
Yeah.
Right.
But a growth mindset would say, I can't succeed in this role yet.
Yeah.
Right.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And that little word just completely changes things.
It changes everything.
So for the listener, this is something you can really try. Whenever you catch yourself thinking something like, I'm not good at public speaking.
Right.
Or I can't learn this new skill. Just add.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like it.
And it's not just about positive thinking.
Right.
It's about acknowledging where you are now.
Yeah.
But believing that you can grow.
Right.
And that mastery is a journey.
It's a process, not a destination.
Yeah.
You're not just arriving.
Right.
You're constantly growing.
Yeah. And that actually leads perfectly to the third strategy.
Okay.
Which is learning from criticism.
Criticism.
Which can be tough.
It can be so hard to hear.
Yeah. Because it often feels personal.
Right. Yeah.
Like an attack on our ability.
Totally.
Or even our worth as a person.
Makes you feel like you're not good enough.
Yeah. But a growth mindset encourages a different perspective on feedback.
Interesting.
Even when it's not delivered in the best way.
Yeah.
And a great example of this is Walt Disney.
Walt Disney.
Yeah. Early in his career.
Yeah.
He was fired from a newspaper.
Wow.
Because his editor said he lacked imagination.
That's brutal.
I know.
Especially for Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, someone with a fixed mindset, they would have taken that as proof.
As a sign.
Yeah.
Right.
That they weren't creative.
Yeah.
And they might have given up.
Right. Just abandon their dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Disney obviously had a growth mindset.
He did.
And he used that criticism as information to get better.
To refine his craft.
Yeah. So the key here is to detach your emotions from the feedback.
Separate the message from the messenger.
Yeah. Right. So instead of getting defensive or feeling defeated, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What information can I take away?
What's the takeaway here?
Yeah.
Right?
That might help me improve.
That can help me grow.
Yeah. So it's about seeing criticism as a source of insight.
A valuable tool, even if it's delivered poorly.
Right. And it requires a bit of humility.
Yeah.
To be open to the possibility that you don't know everything.
Right. Totally.
And that there's always room for growth.
Yeah.
So to bring this all together, the main takeaway from all this is that success isn't just about talent.
Right.
It's about mindset.
It's about believing you can grow.
Yeah.
It's about having that growth mindset.
Exactly. And we saw how Michael Jordan saw failure as a way to improve.
Right.
How Elon Musk embraced challenges.
Totally.
How Oprah used the power of yet.
Yeah.
And how Walt Disney learned from criticism.
Powerful examples.
Yeah, so there's just a recap.
Okay.
The three strategies are, first, see setbacks as learning opportunities.
Yes.
Second, replace I can't with I can't yet.
Love it.
And third, learn from criticism.
Use it as fuel.
Yeah. So ultimately it comes down to this. Your abilities aren't fixed.
Right.
They are dynamic. And you can cultivate them.
You can grow.
Yeah, through effort and learning.
And resilience.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that this isn't a one-time thing.
No, it's a journey.
Right, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
So I want to challenge you, the listener. Think about a time when you failed, but it taught you something.
Right. What did you learn from that failure?
Yeah. And then think about an area of your life where you could start applying
these principles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like your career, a personal project, a relationship.
Your health.
Yeah. Anything.
Anything.
Because the potential for growth is there.
It's built in.
Yeah. It's part of being human.
It's in our DNA.
Right. But the question is, how are you going to tap into it?
How are you going to cultivate it?
Yeah.
How are you going to use that potential?
Exactly. And the mindset you choose is the tool that will help you do that.
It's the key.
Yeah.
It unlocks everything.
All right. So that's our deep dive on growth mindset.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.